Tennessee at LSU. This is I mean, man, I was digging into this game for forever. I obviously like Tennessee here because I'm super high on them coming into the year, still high on them. Also like the spot. They're coming off of a bye. I don't look, you have two potential first round draft picks at receiver in this game. And I don't know. And look, I don't know what's going on with Keyshawn Butte. I don't think he's 100 yards receiving yet. And Cedric Tillman might play, but I don't think he will. Tennessee's star receiver. But when I look at this game, Tennessee should be able to move the ball and through the air. Hendon Hooker, I think that their pace of play is going to wear down this LSU defense line, which has been excellent. I think that can work in their favor here. Also, the time of this game, 11 a.m. helps Tennessee. Man, as a Tennessee division backer, I'm glad this game isn't at night in Death Valley. So I think Tennessee will have success moving the ball. The LSU secondary has some issues, and when I look at the other side of the ball, it's trying to figure out I can't figure out what's going to happen. So LSU has just not been throwing the ball down the field. It's not working in the passing game. They have been running the ball well. Their offensive line has been run blocking very well, but that's Tennessee's strength. Tennessee's run D has been really good. I don't think LSU is going to keep up if they're just going to run the ball. And so that comes down to Jaden Daniels. Can he throw the ball accurately and down the field? Brian Kelly came out and said, we got to take more risks. We have to be more aggressive. Probably lend itself to an over if you think about it. But his whole career, Jaden Daniels has not proven that he's accurate downfield. He's not been accurate downfield on the few times he's thrown this year. I think a 33% accuracy rate. There's something off with the receivers. But then again, so I'm like, this is Tennessee. But then on the flip side, then I look at Tennessee and I'm like, they gave up 500 yards passing to Daniel Richardson in Florida. And so now I'm a bit worried. I show value in the Vols. I think the Vols are going to win this game. But there's enough things that I'm like, about that I'll probably stay away. Maybe have the Vols in a round robin. But I know that you love LSU and the over here.
Yeah, I have it in my script right here. It says love LSU. So yeah, I do. Listen, I think I'm higher than everybody else when it comes to LSU. It's a game that I make a pick. They're a team that has had an influx of transfers, new schemes, new coaches. And this is the kind of team where they're going to improve week after week. And it's not going to look like anything that opened up against Florida State. And I feel like we've seen this movie.
Well, can you explain then what happened last week then? I mean,
and I understand it, right?
They were dominated by Auburn.
I'm getting that thrown in my face all week. I started getting text messages Sunday night from people saying, thank you for hitting LSU on Sunday so that I can get a good Tennessee line. Like I'm getting razzed for my love for LSU, but I know the post-game win expecting. He says Auburn should have won that game, and this opening number should have been like LSU +6. I get it. But
Daniels in that game was 8 of 20 for 80 yards, and Ashford for Auburn was 19 of 38 for 340.
I get it, but this is also not the first time we've seen a team go on the road for the first time in their season and not act like anything what they've acted like before. Think about USC going to Oregon State. We have seen teams go on the road and just not look like anything that they did at home. And so with LSU coming back home, I expect.
I mean, LSU at home shut down Mississippi State too. They had a great game plan. Yeah. Mississippi State always scored 16 points. Now the LSU starts have been their slow starts have been a consistent thing. But yeah, I can go there. There's a lot of mixed bag results for both of these teams early on, which is making it more difficult for me. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, LSU, the defense absolutely shut down Auburn at the end of the game. There's 6 drives where, Nussmeier came in and it was horrid. John Emery Jr. is fumbling the ball. Nussmeier looks like he's never even thrown a pass before in his life, which I loved his arm. I thought that he could do some damage against Tennessee, but I don't think he's going to see the field. And you're right. It doesn't look like Cedric Tillman's going to return for Tennessee, and he's the most explosive weapon for Hendon Hooker in that passing game. I know Brew McCoy and Ramel Keaton have not, they're kind of getting the love now, but if you look at, yards per route run, Brew McCoy is not the explosive wide receiver that I kind of expected him to be with his recruiting pedigree that came in. So for Tennessee to win this game, they're going to have to establish the rush with Jabari Small and Jalen Wright. And Josh Heupel said the key to this game was keeping Tennessee on schedule ahead of the chains. This LSU defense is top 10 in standard down success rate. The defensive line is the size of a house, and they're completely equipped to shut down the success rate in standard downs from Tennessee. Also, look at Tennessee's penalties. They're outside the top 100 in penalties per game. They shoot themselves in the foot more than just about anybody. But the biggest handicap in this game, and you've already mentioned it, is the Tennessee secondary, 120th in coverage grading by PFF. You mentioned what Anthony Richardson did to them. And the narrative is right. Jaden Daniels hasn't thrown deep. He isn't on target. And there's just way too many drops. That's Butte's problem, right? I mean, he's got like I think 25% drop ratio right now. I mean, it's bad. And I mean, a lot of that could be inaccuracy. A lot of that can't always be on the wide receivers. And this is the average. And the question is, can Jaden Daniels actually throw downfield? So if you go into his Arizona State numbers, this is the lowest average depth of target of Jaden Daniels' career. The LSU coaches have not asked him to throw downfield anywhere close to the rate that he has in the past. And the wide receivers have a 9% drop rate. And Butte is, the one that kind of leads that charge. And the bottom line is Jaden Daniels is capable of throwing downfield. He's done it in his career before. He hasn't been asked to. And when he has, there's been drops involved. And now Brian Kelly is coming out and publicly saying, I am asking Jaden Daniels to be more aggressive in the passing game. Brian Kelly is not a fool. He's not an idiot. He knows what he sees in the Tennessee secondary, and he is challenging his quarterback openly in public. He's not doing that because he's irrational or it just came to his brain. Like, he is doing this on purpose and for a reason. So I love LSU +3. I think Jaden Daniels is going to cook. And considering the opposing offensive attack, this Tennessee coverage grade is so bad. And at the same time, the way that Tennessee wins this game on offense is that they establish the rush, which I don't think they're going to be able to do against this LSU front seven. I like LSU +3 at home. And please stop with the narratives that because it's an 11 a.m. game, it takes away home field advantage. That is completely overdrawn with LSU and their home field advantage in the first place. It's going to be loud. It's going to smell of corn dogs, and LSU is going to roll.
I disagree. I think that, look, the difference to me is both secondaries have questions. And I mean, if you look at EPA per pass, both the Tennessee defense is 88th, I think, and the LSU passing offense is like 85th. So I'm like, okay, yeah, the Tennessee. But then if you look at the other side, it's a top 15 EPA per pass offense with Hendon Hooker against a secondary that's outside the top 50 in EPA per pass. I also think that the LSU defensive line, which is going to have a say early on, that's if they come out and don't shit the bed early on, as they've done every game this year on offense, if they get behind. If they get behind in this game, they're done. They're not coming back against Tennessee. This isn't Robbie Ashford. But Hendon Hooker in this offense, I think, is going to wear down that defensive line over time. So I think for me, I don't know if I'll get involved here big because I just have a couple of question marks that with some mixed results. And LSU's a hard team to crack because it's like so brand new, and then they've had weird results this year, and it's a small sample size. So it's a high variance team early on. But I think that's the difference for me, is like that's why I would trust Tennessee more. It's like I know the known commodity in Hendon Hooker. This is going to come down to Jaden Daniels. If he can connect and Butte shows up and the receivers show up, then LSU will probably win this game. But
yeah, the one thing that sealed it for me, Stuck, was the fact that their best offensive lineman, guard Garrett Dellinger, was back at practice yesterday after having like a hand surgery. He's going to play. He's also like the best center, but he plays left guard. And that means that Jaden Daniels and Dellinger wasn't there last week. So Daniels is going to be very much more protected than he was against Auburn. So, that was one thing that decided for me, because, I'm a big trench guy, and on both sides of the ball, to me, that favors LSU.
Fair enough. Fair difference of opinion there in a game that I think warrants it.